And
Raymond, that's you.
No, this ain't Raymond.
Hey everyone, I am Raymond. You are watching RPadTV, and today my excellent guest Mac and I will be talking about The Land of the Lost, a 2009 movie based on a TV series from the 70s.
from the late 70s?
I think it was 70. I think it was before we were born, actually, when it started.
It was. I remember like vividly, like this was a show I watched and was excited to watch as a kid when it came on.
So 74 to 77.
Okay, so I was born in 76. So but yeah, it must have been, I'm clearly on reruns at that point, but I remember it was like something where after school, like that was one of the shows that I had to kind of get home to see.
Yeah. Before we get into that, how are you?
Good. Just busy trying to figure out, launching new gaming accessories and how tariffs work with all that. And
oh man.
Stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, that must be crazy for you guys.
Yeah, it's been an interesting learning experience, if anything else, right? Like, just what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do when an inconsistent mercurial man
it changes every day, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, just kidding. No, I wasn't just kidding about kidding, and then like it just keeps going.
We were actually both in Vegas at the same time, but we did not get to hang out. WrestleMania and volleyball stuff prevented that. But hopefully next time.
My younger daughter her team participated in the volleyball tournament that was at the Las Vegas Convention Center on Easter weekend, which was wonderful timing. But man, talk like, we've been to a bunch of conventions in the past, but talk about like just the nuts amount of like size of that place and the amount of like, I think they had like 150 volleyball courts just in one hall. It was amazing. And then all the whistles and all the noise, it was like enough to make Chewbacca scream,
Did you ride the stupid tunnel thing while you were there?
The tunnel thing, no. We did. My younger daughter does have a roller coaster fascination, so we did take her over to New York, so her and the team could get on it. It was, of course, immediately after dinner, so everybody felt sick after. So,
because they have the Elon's Hyperloop is connecting the different halls at the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Oh, is that what? Okay,
that thing's so stupid.
I should have known that.
Oh, that guy sucks too. Let's let's move on to happier.
Man, that guy sucks.
So, if you were in an elevator with one of your friends, how would you recommend The Land of the Lost?
How would I recommend it?
Yeah, like why would you say?
Again, if I was in an elevator with friends, I'd have to assume that those friends had probably seen it too.
Okay, fair.
But I think it's classic Will Ferrell and it's classic Danny McBride, and you don't get that mix that often.
Yeah.
Right, and I think they worked well off of each other,
big time.
So it was. I mean, again, I think. You and I were talking before the show started, but like Danny, it's basically Danny McBride as a continuation of his character Red from Pineapple Express.
Yeah. And both of us are massive Danny McBride fans. So of course,
for sure.
I mean, we did an episode on Your Highness, and another
we do a Pineapple Express episode at some point in the future if we get bored.
Yes, let's see if Franco becomes safe to
I forgot he's kind of not good, content at this point.
We actually had another viewer comment on our Your Highness episode that The Land of the Lost is similarly underrated. And
absolutely. Yeah, I think is that the genesis for us deciding to go back and do this.
Yeah. Johan is also a fan of the Will Ferrell, Danny McBride combo. What was it, East Side and Down, where they did some stuff together?
East Down and Bound?
Sure, that one where he's the baseball player.
Yeah, that show was great too. I love Danny McBride in that.
Yeah, and Carlos was like, "There was a show before the movie." Why, yes, there was, and I will get to that in a.
Wait, Carlos didn't know there was a Land of the Lost TV show from the 70s?
He's a little bit younger than us.
Oh man! So the
way I would picture it, I'd be like, if you're in the Gen X age range or an older millennial, you'll remember Land of the Lost from TV. So it
It was
plays
our
up,
Jurassic Park. It was our
yeah,
era's Jurassic Park.
yeah, it plays up on the nostalgia, but the humor, like the actors and the writers and the director, they worked really hard to be dumb in an intelligent way, if that makes any
And the
sense.
special effect, like, I don't want to say like ahead of their time for the time that the TV show was out, but like certainly like again, that was our level of Jurassic Park, seeing dinosaurs and people
Oh
in the same
yeah,
world for the
yeah,
first time together in a believable kind of visual way. And I thought that was neat.
yeah. I mean that's a perfect segue into our relationship with the '70s show. I mean, dinosaurs were cool when we're kids. They're
They're still
freaking
cool
awesome.
now.
They're they are cool. Kids going on adventures. In the original show is a family, Marshall, Will, and Holly. Although his their last name is Marshall. I don't know why they called him. His name is Rick Marshall. And his two children go on a routine expedition. They sing the song in the movie also. And Will Ferrell's character in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back is actually Marshall Willenholly.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So there's a connection there. But yeah, I think we were saying this off camera, but this was one of the shows as a kid that I would run home to see, and I absolutely loved it. But part of it also scared the shit out of me. I think
It was kind of like Indiana Jones meets
yeah,
sci-fi, right?
yeah,
And so that was all. Like, if you were a kid, and like growing up at like our age and saw that when we saw it on reruns, right? Like, man, like you wanted to be in the land of the lost. Like, it transported you to a place
yeah.
where dinosaurs existed, and your imagination could take you there.
And there were friendly ones like Dopey, although Dopey wasn't
Yes,
in the movie. I'm pretty sure that the first thing that scared the crap out of me as a kid were the Slee Stack. I mean, look at their giant eyes and their weird claw hands.
you know what? As far as like sci-fi monsters go, like none of this sci-fi stuff ever bugged me, like aliens or monsters, but like Freddy Krueger's and Jason Voorhees,
Freddy Krueger
all
scared me.
those
Yeah.
things scared the shit out of me. Like I couldn't sleep if I like after I saw Nightmare on Elm Street.
And as I was saying, the original started a family called the Marshalls. That's Rick Marshall and his son Will and his daughter Holly. In the movie, I guess this segues into some of the differences here. In the movie, they are not a family. They're just three totally unrelated people that happen to go on a routine expedition together because of circumstances. The Slee Stack, yeah, because movie. The Slee Stack were kind of, obviously they weren't these shitty 70s puppet costumes, but in the movie they give them these scary ass teeth, which made them
they make them
yeah.
slightly threatening.
One of them in the TV show, there was an Altrusian named Enoch, who is from the race that precedes the Slee Stack, but they're all developed and smart. And Enoch was an ally of the Marshall family.
Yeah,
but in the movie, he is the bad guy. Yeah,
he's the main baddie.
They put a little twist on that. So I like that they changed it up for the movie. I mean, they obviously played up a lot of the nostalgic elements, but they did its own thing too.
Yeah, it's like I said, to me, it's the classic kind of Will Ferrell comedy with enough stuff like in the script. Like it's so well done, just their reactions to each other and the things they say, but then just like the homage they pay to like the original show, and then the way they kind of take advantage of it and kind of make it a comedy and make it more funny where it needs to be.
Yeah. So Julie says, wait, there's going to be a movie, or is there a movie? There is indeed a movie. Came out in 2009 and it was not well received. If we go to the Rotten Tomatoes score, look at that.
Yeah, it's not good.
But we love it, similarly to how Your Highness was poorly rated.
I just watched it again, and I'm like, I walked away from the end of the movie today feeling thoroughly pleased with the use of my time.
Yes, and the same goes for the Land of the Lost. I will I will watch this movie for the rest of my life, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good one.
let's talk about the cast. So Julie, you need to go see this.
Yeah,
I think
this you have homework tonight, Julie, and this is like a very easy assignment.
this
It's
will
on
be
Max. It's free to watch if you have Max.
yes.
Even the Max costs a fortune.
Well, let's talk about the four leads individually, and then we'll talk about how they work together. Um, first, we have Will Ferrell, of course, is Dr. Rick Marshall. What did you make of Will Ferrell in this
I
movie?
actually don't remember much of the characters from the TV show to compare against because it's been so long since I've seen that. But
They're kind of
again,
blah, you know.
I think Will Ferrell, like I said, it's classic Will Ferrell, just saying the things that you don't expect, just reacting to the other characters. I think he did a good job keeping me engaged to see what happens next.
Yeah, he plays a quantum physicist, but he's also very immature and childish in
And
that
arrogant.
Will Ferrell, yeah, arrogant too. I love his relationship at the beginning with Chaka.
I love that. Like we could do an entire episode about Chalk, in my opinion. But
Yes.
I love the fact that, like, again, people you shouldn't be like commenting about. Like Matt Lauer is the beginning of this
And the end.
and the end, and I just think that like that's such a funny at the time role and bit for that to have.
See, Carlos is surprised that it's this old, and that's a testament to the genius of Will Ferrell and Danny McBride.
Yeah, and I think they work. I don't remember seeing like there was Eastbound and Down. There was he was the used car salesman.
Yes,
right. And then
didn't he get demoted from one? He ends up at Kia, but wasn't he at a better company?
Yeah,
and he lost the license there because
he got like he hit a ball and it hit him in the throat or something like that.
That's right.
But you don't see those two like interacting a lot in multiple films like you do with like Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, or like like this the constant movie pals, right? So this was like another one where you finally got to see them, and again, like they worked so well off each other. It was just kind of this really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think of Will Ferrell as more of that SNL crew, or working with John C. Reilly.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think of McBride as more of that Seth Rogen, that clique of actors and comedians. But yeah, I think Will Ferrell did a great job of doing Will Ferrell things.
This is one of my favorite scenes.
Yes, he gets bit. He's playing the original theme song for Land of the Lost on the banjo, where a prehistoric mosquito bites the hell out of him. And takes
even on his neck right here, it starts to suck up a ton of blood and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yes. And then it kind of and then he passes out and he sits up again in a few minutes after. But like at that point, like the makeup is so good. They've like made his skin like super pale. Yeah. He's like, he keeps yawning. He's so tired. And then they show the size of the mosquito on his back, and it's like the size. He's like wearing a backpack. That's how much blood he's lost. And
then the next morning when they show the bite, it really looks like a giant ass mosquito bite. Yeah.
I was laughing a lot at that.
There's a scene where they find one of the magic temporal crystals, but then they started singing Cher in it. And I'm like, I think Mac and I would actually do this.
Oh yeah.
They start singing, "Do you believe in life after love?"
And it's all auto-tuning their voice because it's so weird.
Oh, I think that's so funny.
That was really funny.
Moving on, we already talked about McBride a little bit, but I'm such a massive fan of this guy. People pigeonhole him as playing dumb characters, but he puts so much thought into playing these dumb characters.
Yeah, it's not like unrehearsed. It's not like he doesn't put any thought into it. Like and again, like kudos to the writers and kudos to them for improvising where they do, but like some of the dialogue, some of the back and forth, some of the points that like Danny McBride's character brings up are just kind of so like like why is he selling fireworks at this like tour? But there's just so many funny elements to his character. Like he's a total kind of creep and a pervert, and he lives out in the middle of the nowhere by himself, and he knows it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the best part of it. He just knows he's trash.
That is my favorite aspect of his character, because unlike a lot of these, quote unquote dumb characters, he's very self-aware.
Yeah.
And you don't see that a lot. And it plays into his ending, which we'll get into later.
Spoiler alert. I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to say it, but like he decides that he's just gonna stay.
Yeah.
Him and Chaka are gonna be bros and hang out, and that'll be that.
It pays off because it turns out that Chaka's women are pretty hot.
Yes, I forgot about that ending.
Especially my pal Jesse over there. But yeah, he plays dumb in a different way from Rick Marshall's dumb, and it blends together so well.
Yeah.
Like their chemistry is really excellent.
And they both have such good relationships to watch with Chaka. Like Will Ferrell, like, Will Ferrell's character is, again, like, trying to dominate him mentally, trying to kind of like be his boss. And then Danny McBride's relationship with him is like so much more genuine and friendly. Like,
they're pals. Whereas they established, because they saved Chaka's life, much like in the original TV show, but the way it's explained to Rick Marshall is that he's now Chaka's master, and he loves that, and he keeps rubbing it in his face. He's like, "Your master is not pleased, Chaka." He's like,
and there's a lot of like "fuck you, Chaka." Like, there's a lot of like,
See, and that's what I love, because they'll give him like smart scientist lines to say, but then he'll be like, "Stop being a dick, Chaka." So, like, I just love that contrast.
I love, there's a scene, again, because you're paying attention, when I watched it again today, kind of paying attention for certain things. And when they're all running from one of the dinosaurs, and they're in this scene somewhere, like in this area in the movie, they're all running from the dinosaurs, and Will Ferrell yells, "Chaka, lead your master to safety."
Yes.
And then he kind of jumps up out of the way, and then like they show Will Ferrell getting closer to him, and Chaka, like, he turns around, Chaka's like kicking him away, like, just get the fuck away from me. It's great.
Whoop! I did not want to show that screen.
Oh, spoiler.
That was too early for that one. My bad. Of course, there has to be a strong female lead and love interest, and we have Holly Cantrell, played by the lovely Anna Friel. She got kicked out of Oxford because she thought Rick Marshall's theories were correct, whereas most of the scientific community
in the movie,
laughing stock. Yes. So she ends up following Rick Marshall, prodding.
What I liked about her, and we were talking about this a little earlier, is that she was like a total unknown. Like, I'd never seen her before in any other movies, and she just kind of showed up and like just played the part well.
Yeah.
I like lost count of how many different scenes in the movie somebody has their hands on her boobs.
Yes. I mean, she is the adult of the group, quite clearly. Like, she was the only one that was fully mature. Although that was a total boob shot they did with her.
Yep.
And she's a talented actor, but she also has the British accent to make her sound smarter.
And progressively loses more of her clothing throughout the movie.
Yes. Well, it's in a weird environment. It gets hot there. But yeah, she literally like rips the legs off her pants like pretty early on. Mm-hmm. Loses her jacket. Do we have she's wearing that originally, and then she becomes Lara Croft basically.
Yep.
But I know this actor from a bunch of soccer movies called Goal, which were produced by FIFA. They are total garbage, but I love them because they're so bad.
I'm gonna have to go look at those and see how terrible those are. So soccer movies and films and things like that. So
Goal 2, actually, they get a lot of big time footballers in there, like Zidane's in there. And it's pretty crazy, some of the footballers that they do get. One of the guys that plays one of the English players, we actually reviewed him in Kraven the Hunter recently. He was the guy that played Rhino. So, That is pretty funny. But yeah, I liked what Anna Friel brought to the group in terms of, I think she balanced it out because she's basically in
Yep.
charge of three idiots.
Yeah, and if you put in, I don't know if the movie worked if you put in like a bigger name actress in that movie,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like,
Especially the guys like McBride and Ferrell, where you got
I feel like a Charlize Theron could have pulled it off, right? Like kind of she did with her. What was the Western movie that she was in with Seth?
MacFarlane.
MacFarlane.
Yeah, that one.
That one movie.
Yeah, I don't know. She might be like the best actor ever because she convinced me for 90 minutes that she was in love with Seth Rogen. So,
yep.
I mean, that's talent, if you can believe that. What was that movie called? Or that one?
I can't remember. I have to look it up.
Yes, that's another one that I watch repeatedly and is also not very good. But yeah, and last but not least, we have Jorma Taccone as Chaka. And if that name looks familiar, but you can't quite place it, Jorma is one of the guys in The Lonely Island, along with Akiva Goldsmith and Andy Samberg. Obviously, Andy Samberg is the most famous one and gets most of the attention, but Jorma has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, he was the brother in Hot Rod for Andy Samberg's character, Hot Rod. I didn't realize that until today after I kind of did a little digging around and research and looked it up. I'm mesmerized because as the brother in Hot Rod, I think he's one of my favorite characters. And then in Chaka, like every scene that he's in the movie, he steals the scene. I mean, he's just comedy. And
he doesn't, except for one brief moment, he doesn't speak any English. He speaks their native language.
Yeah.
And otherwise it's just facial expressions and physical acting. And he does such a good job emoting.
He does. It's absolutely like laugh out loud fun. There's a scene where he's dancing. Where like the
Woogie Bugle Boy
in the cave and he's dancing, and that dancing cuts into like one of the funniest things. Like we still send this around to some of my like text group friends where it's just like him just like violently reaching to the sky and like pelvic thrusting repeatedly.
to the sounds of the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy.
Yep, and it's just like you want to do the Chaka dance? But yeah, he's a steam sealer and is probably the best part of the movie.
And I don't know, I am a big, and as are you, a massive Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan, but
oh yeah,
I might have to elevate Jorma as the best guy in The Lonely Island just for this performance. I mean, that's so much I enjoy, especially for a scene that we'll talk about later. Now, individually, I think these guys all did well, but collectively, I thought they were fantastic. What do you make of the chemistry of these four actors and how they work together as a team?
It was hilarious. Like, again, watching Will and Danny bounce off each other. And again, I think it's a lot to do with the writers and just knowing like how to use those two actors as tools to make funny. And they did a good job with that. And then again, what's her name?
Anna Friel.
Yeah, she, like you said earlier, she just kind of blended right in with everybody. Jorma Taccone, like no speaking role whatsoever, and just had to physically like kind of dry hump his way into every scene. I thought it was even Matt Lauer's bit and returning bit at the end of the movie.
Yes,
fantastic, well done, fantastic. Even though he's a piece of crap, you know. So,
how did he cancel himself again? I don't even remember now. Why he's no longer a thing.
I think he
was he a sexual harasser?
He's like a serial harasser, and then and then had wife and kids at home and was cheating on them.
Okay. There you go. So I want to talk about 10 minutes of this movie that I think is one of my favorite 10 minutes of any movie. And it's weird because it's part of a movie that's not objectively good.
It doesn't fit. It feels forced.
Yeah.
It feels like they just had an idea and they're like, fuck it, we got minutes. We can fit this in.
But it's borderline genius in a way that I don't know if anyone has seen Freddy Got Fingered. Another great, stupid movie that's not good. But there's a hospital scene that is borderline genius. It's so weird and out there and wacky. But we got to take a promo break before that. Just wanted to remind everyone that I'm giving away this beautiful RPadTV water bottle. All you have to do is go to my Patreon and leave a comment on the April water bottle giveaway post. You can sign up to be a Patreon member for free. So it just costs you a little time and you get a chance to win this glorious water bottle. Entries are open until the end of the month. If you are looking for other ways to support RPadTV, check out the YouTube and Facebook descriptions where you can see about our other partners. I'm partnering with Proton VPN. We got some shirts and bags and stuff you can buy on Amazon, all kinds of stuff. So check that out if you have a chance. Now, back to...
Quick tangent.
Yes, love tangents.
You mentioned Freddy Got Fingered, which
yes.
I don't think start over. I don't think I've ever actually seen that movie. But what you reminded me of is just Tom Green.
Yes.
And there's a handful of like newer kind of stand-up comedy that he did.
Yeah.
And a kind of a series about his current life now as a farmer.
I did not know he was a farmer.
It's a retrospective about his whole life from like his very beginnings all the way up to now. And it's actually really, really, really good.
Interesting.
And it gives you like a much deeper appreciation for Tom Green and how he became to be and why he became famous. And I had no idea that he had like the background that he did.
Actually, don't know about his background at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like you watch this show and you're like, holy crap, he's like a genuinely skilled and talented human being.
And not very weird.
Yeah, like super out there. And still, like even the more kind of recent like interview footage with him, he's like still kind of that same dude, but just he's calmed down a little in life, you know?
As we all do when we get older.
Right.
But I'm a big fan of his. Rip Torn, who I'm also a massive fan of, is in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about the Larry Sanders Show before we started going live. He was tremendous in that. So Rip Torn, Tom Green, who else is in it?
Which movie is this?
Freddy Got Fingered.
Yeah.
Harlan Williams is in it.
Okay, that makes sense. That seems like it fits.
And he's also very tremendous. One of the guys from American Pie, Eddie K. Thomas, he was the one that boned Stifler's mom.
Okay,
he's in that movie as well. And Julie Haggerty, who was the female lead in the Airplane movies. And love her for that. She's also in Freddy Got Fingered. That might, if you're into that should be an episode.
Yeah, I would also highly recommend going back and watching those couple Tom Green things that are out now.
What are they on?
I'll find out. I'll text you. I don't remember what platform they're on.
So this movie has this weird and almost heady 10 minutes that are back to back. It starts where they're retrieving the tachyon amplifier, which is the big MacGuffin in this movie.
The gadget that transports them.
Yeah.
To this dimension.
It can manipulate space and time, but somehow it ended up in this pterodactyl nest, and it's playing for reasons unknown. Will Ferrell's a big show tunes fan. It's playing I Hope I Get It from a chorus line, which pops up a few times in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick Marshall gets the tachyon amplifier, but when he takes it, the music stops playing. And so everyone else has to sing I Hope I Get It for him. There's a silly gag at the beginning where he wants Will to go get it, but then Will pretends to fall asleep on a rock. Like, that makes no sense. He's like, oh, I'm awake now. Oh, you're going? That's okay. Cool. So Will Ferrell has to do this dance through these pterodactyl eggs to the soundtrack of a chorus line. And then everyone else has to start singing when the music goes off, when he has the tachyon amplifier.
All the
These
eggs
two
hatch.
join in, all the eggs hatch, but they keep singing to as kind of a lullaby.
To calm and soothe the pterodactyl babies.
And for the first and only time in this movie, Chaka sings beautifully in English, which surprised everyone. And it is one of my favorite moments in the movie because I wasn't expecting that at
Yeah,
all.
not at all. And like even when you hear the singing voice and you're like,
Who the hell is that?
exactly, the first thought of your head is like, oh, that's Chaka singing. It's not that. You're like, who the hell is that singing? And then it cuts to him and you're like, oh.
And if you know the song, he's singing the part where he's like, "I really need this job," and it's just funny coming from this grunting monkey character. But I'm a big musical theater nerd. If you've watched previous episodes, you know that already.
My older daughter is also a musical theater nerd, and she walked in here when I was watching that. She's like, "Why are you listening to this song?" And I was like, "It's part of the movie."
So that is part one of a glorious 10 minutes of it, because right after they successfully retrieve the tachyon amplifier, they go back to the desert planet, the desert portion, and they get high on this.
Yeah, they're looking for food, and they have Chaka like, "Hey, like go find some food that we can eat." So Chaka comes back with these like fruit things, and then they eat them and they just get loaded, and it's fantastic.
Yes, and it's a pretty extended scene where I love the translation where Holly is getting to Chaka like what the juice does to you.
Yeah.
And it's like you feel like this icy grip on your soul, and it feels like your bowels are being penetrated by zombie dick. Like what? Like that's who
I just love the part where like Danny McBride's Will is sitting in like the pool and like having like going deep like conversationally with Chaka, who still doesn't speak a drip of English, but he's like trying to like connect on like a deeply spiritual level.
He's like, Chaka, you got to tell me, are you a narc? Then Chaka just goes, Chaka. He's like, no, that's your name.
That's not an answer. That's just your name, pal. Like you're not helping.
Will Ferrell's rolling around in his underwear, and they're getting high on the prehistoric narcotic juice. But you know, they're at this abandoned motel, playing in the pool. There's still water in it somehow. But what really makes this scene for me, the sequence, are the songs that they use. They're three really well-written songs that are so different. So you have Rare Earth, I Just Want to Celebrate, followed by the Hendrix version of All Along the Watchtower, which Bob Dylan himself said is the superior version. And then it ends with Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts.
Yeah,
so
the music was good.
Fantastic songs from a songwriting perspective, but also from a period perspective. Like these were massive hits in the 70s, although was Watchtower late 60s, but still popular then. Love Chaka's high face.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love that, like, again, just being drunk and shit-faced or stoned or whatever they are, like, and not using English and still communicating, like, just how fucked up he is. Like,
yeah,
stellar job by him here.
Really impressive stuff. And this scene, I don't have the full scene, but they're just
tripping balls.
They're stoned out of their mind. And this giant crab starts rushing at them.
Well, as things do tend to happen in the original Land of Lost, there's always some other giant monster, dinosaur, whatever that shows up. And so they look over when they're just lying here on the sand, and they see this giant crab, like off in the distance, rushing at them, like it's gonna come eat them.
But they're too stoned to move or really do anything.
They literally do nothing except just lie there and start to kind of get scared.
and then by happenstance, the crab falls into
boiling hot.
It's like a geyser. Yeah, and cooks itself.
And then they have more food to eat.
Yes, and here they are snacking on said crab.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. when you watch the movie. Our shitty recap is not helping, but
Yeah, and
so
I love the way this scene ends because McBride's character Will, he goes, "Hey, tell me how
that's
much
again just the goal, like the joy of like watching them work every each other is just like, all right, man, how much for you to make out with Chaka?
Yeah, it's like French kiss. You got to put your tongue in this little monkey face." And Will Ferrell's like, if it doesn't leave this circle, I'll do it for free. They play off each other so well, and it's such a silly scene.
I love when they're just sleeping. They all wake up after
and
nap.
When Summer Breeze is playing, this is how they're waking up. It's so funny. Like, oh man, it just kills me.
I love that Danny's just like wearing cowboy boots and a towel.
Yeah. So, and this is what I was saying, and how the movie makes the Land of the Lost its own thing. Like the original show didn't have any musical numbers.
It wasn't a comedy.
It wasn't a comedy. It certainly didn't have any prehistoric narcotics in it.
Yeah, and like again, I go back to like I think one of the big things of like the allure for me to the TV show, it's like, you know, when we were younger, was just like it was our Jurassic Park. It was our kind of first cinematic or TV introduction to dinosaurs in a way that what at the time didn't feel cheesy like it feels now.
Yeah,
and like, you know, the special effects in the current movie are just fine for what it is, you know. So
no, that's completely fair.
I love, by the way, I love that the dinosaur and Will Ferrell's character like have a dynamic relationship that's established. Like,
yes,
there's a genuine, like, you know what he said and what they did to like hate each other, and it carries throughout the movie.
So he's spouting off on Grumpy, who was actually one of the antagonists in the original series. And he's saying like, oh, he doesn't have good peripheral vision. He's stupid. He only has a brain the size of a walnut. And then later on, Grumpy gives him a gift, wrapped in leaves, a giant ass walnut.
Yeah, it's funny to see the dinosaur like understand.
Yeah, and it turns out Grumpy is actually a nice fellow.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of indigestion and a blockage.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So he ends up swallowing Rick Marshall whole, but as Rick Marshall in his intestines, he helps him out with a bit of constipation, and Grumpy becomes his friend.
By the way, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when it's kind of just before this part is where Marshall and Will are sneaking in to try and kind of get, you know, to rescue Holly.
Right, they're wearing the Sleestack skins.
Yeah, and they catch the, you know, as they're sneaking in, there's two Sleestacks that are on patrol, kind of watching the perimeter, and he's just like, oh, like are they gonna do this? Or he's like,
yeah, I think they're gonna bone.
Like, are they about to bone? He's like, and Marshall again, so arrogant. He's like, no, that would never happen. He's like, nope, they're boning. And apparently, at the end of that, when they mate, they like shed their skin. Yeah, and that's how they get their costumes.
Yes,
to sneak in is the shedded skin of the two Sleestacks that were boning while on patrol.
I also love McBride's reaction when Marshall is riding in on Grumpy.
Oh yeah, because he's like, please let me.
Oh my god,
the best ever.
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's like the only way it'd be cooler is if he slides down his tail like Fred Flintstone.
And then he does exactly that, and he's like, oh.
And he's like, oh, I have lived. I love that line and how he delivers it.
And the Flintstones is such a throwback reference to a cartoon of the era, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Johan mentioned the Matt Lauer book. I love how the movie is bookended by a pair of Matt Lauer interviews.
Well, and the first one is him getting assaulted, and then the second one is him assaulting Will Ferrell.
Yeah, like Will Ferrell is humiliated in the first one, but is triumphant in the second one because of his book. Matt Lauer can suck it.
And he's like, no, you need to read the title of the book out loud. And then and who wrote it? He's like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, no, just hold it up.
Fine. Matt Lauer can suck it. by Dr. Rick Marshall.
Yeah, that's great.
I love him.
He's so proud of it too. Like Will Ferrell's character is he's so proud of like that he got that done.
Another small line, like right before they get high, is when Rick Marshall goes, "I'm going to miss this land that proves I was right." It's such a silly, arrogant thing to say. Now, I wanted to say, I didn't write this question down, but how did you feel about this movie compared to other movies that are nostalgia plays, kind of like, the Dukes of Hazzard, Starsky and Hutch, those movies that played up on old series?
I don't know. Like, to me, because it's funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is such a good comedy. It's got such a good cast. Like, the Dukes of Hazzard reboot had Johnny Knoxville, Sean William Scott, and what's the girl's name?
Jessica Simpson.
Like, it was just trash. It was not a good movie. It was not well
It took
written.
itself too seriously, though.
It was not well written. It was not well acted.
Yeah.
Like, I think this because it is what it was. Like you said, it became its own thing with the comedy and the humor elements, and they made like an actual funny movie out of it that stands on its own. Starsky and Hutch. I don't remember much of watching Starsky and Hutch, the TV show, other than I knew I'd seen it, but seeing like the Ben Stiller remake, like it was a good movie. I appreciate it for what it was, but like
I enjoyed it.
Like the humor in it was not to the same level of like they made a comedy with Land of the Lost.
Right. I mean, one of the things that works for Land of the Lost is that it makes fun of the source material and how silly it was for that time. Whereas Dukes of Hazzard and Starsky and Hutch didn't really do that, and I think that it works in this favor. I mean, nostalgia is one thing to play up, but being honest about things that weren't very good in the past also helps. And I think this movie did that. And I think it's better for it. Now, the movie has an ending where it has a mid-credit scene, which is also unusual for this style of movie. This isn't like a Marvel kind of thing. But it goes back to Matt Lauer's studio, and it shows a Sleestak egg hatching. And these things can multiply very fast, apparently.
So there's a nugget. There's a seed planted for a sequel at some point.
Is it necessary? One?
No.
No. Okay. I don't think it's necessary either. But let's pretend that we are sequelizing it. Like what do you do? I would kind of want to revisit, Danny McBride's life in Shotgun's Tribe.
You almost feel like, like Danny McBride's got to be like some sort of civilization leader at that point.
Yes.
And then you got to figure it's got to be like Marshall and Holly's kids somehow transport back. That's how I would see it happening. And Marshall and Holly are still involved, right? It's still Will Ferrell's, but he's older, and you got to come up with like maybe an Andy Samberg or something as his son. That's how I would see it unfolding.
I like that idea of having it be their kids, kind of like how the Naked Gun is Frank Drebin's kid. Yeah. But leaving Danny McBride as himself.
Yeah, and they go back to it's almost like Hot Tub Time Machine, right? Where they go back and they visit Danny McBride, and he's like the ruler now, and he's doing a good job, but there's lots of things that are like very like humorously fucked up. Right?
I think that's a great sequel. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
And then, just to round it out, let's throw Craig Robinson in there, because
absolutely.
I like how he works with both these guys. So
yeah, for sure.
That can work too. I don't know. What do you guys think? A Land of the Lost sequel is necessary? Probably not, but I think it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd say like no, because like you could tell straight off the bat there's never been any. I don't know. It's hard to say that with that Easter egg in the middle, but like it's almost like there was never any real intention to do a sequel. They just put that in for people. But I don't see anybody like go into the computer to type up a script for this anytime soon.
Okay, so the gross was just under 69 million. With a budget of 100 million. Ooh, okay, so this is not getting a sequel.
No.
Ow, that kind of.
They didn't even earn it back.
And that doesn't include I don't think they included the marketing budget in there either.
Right.
It's funny. I vaguely remember some of the press when they were doing, I think they were promoting it at Comic-Con 2000.
I remember they promoted the crab scene.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the crab scene in the promos leading up to it, and it kind of made you wonder.
And some of the friends that we have in common at IGN were interviewing the cast members at Comic-Con, so it was a kind of a fun thing. But yes, Yorma is now elevated in
that literally blew my mind today when I realized that's who that was. That made my day worth getting up.
So. That's awesome, and I'm happy that your appreciation of him has grown.
Yeah,
very cool. So let us refine our elevator pitches now that we've come to the end of this discussion. Let's convince some random that they should watch the Land of the Lost movie. What do you say?
If you need a good laugh, like again, I think if you want a guaranteed stupid laugh tonight, go watch Land of the Lost. And you don't even have to be familiar with the original TV show. It does a great job of being self-sufficient.
I would say, well, what other movie combines comedy, musicals, and a stone scene? that could work. So that will wrap it up for our Land of the Lost discussion. We are actually taking next week off, so we won't have a show on May 1st. But the following week, we're going to have 2 episodes. We're going to start on May 6th. We're going to review the Thunderbolts movie. And May 8th, we're going to review the latest band of Star Wars shorts, or as I like to call them, Star Wars tapas, Tales of the World. So we're going to have episodes on May 6th and May 8th. Random Vegas local question. Have you heard anything about the local movie Action? No. There's actually another localish Vegas movie called The Comic Shop that I was...
Yeah, we were supposed to do that before.
But I was having issues with the PR people. So they're not all good ones like Mac. So, some of them can be unresponsive and uncooperative. But no, Zach Morris, I will look into that. I don't know much about it. So if you want to drop me a line and tell me more about it.
By the way, what is the step, kick, leap, kick, touch again?
That is the beginning where the director is of I hope I get it. That's the director's instructions to the dancer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's saying step, kick, kip, leap, kick, touch again. Step, kick, kip, leap, touch. I can't even say it.
Got it. I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, it's very obscure, which another reason I mean, growing up in New York, a chorus line was so massive at the time I was a kid, but also for a long time, and probably way after it was still appealing, they kept counting it as the longest running show on Broadway, which it was for a very long time, even when it didn't deserve to be. But it's still a massive thing. Marvin Hamlish was the composer for the chorus line, Broadway legend. But yes, let us know what you think of the Land of the Lost. Let us know if there are any other stupid, silly, underrated movies you'd like us to cover. Freddy Got Fingered is a possibility there.
I would go watch that now just because of, like I said, about the Tom Green stuff. I'm more intrigued to give it a try.
Yeah. No, and I'm interested in those. Are they stand-up specials or are they documentaries?
One of them is an actual stand-up special that he does. And then the other one is like a BTS kind of documentary about just his life on a farm. It's like on Hulu or Prime or something like that.
Okay. I will check it out.
So
hopefully it's not on Hulu because that is the one streaming service I don't have. But
whoa.
Yes, we will see. But yeah, thanks for watching RPadTV. We are off next week, but join us on May 6th and May 8th, and you'll get a double dose that week.
When are we doing Andor?
That is the week after. I think it ends the 15th, May 15th.
That's my new favorite TV show.
There's you just like drunk Mon Mothma.
And I think that's the funniest thing ever. And like, it's just like
good song, like you said.
You never would have ever thought in a million years on like the origin of that character and all that stuff that you would see that scene of her just getting ripped drunk and shit faced at a wedding and dancing to a rave.
I was almost, and there's spoilers here, but I was almost waiting for.
I don't think that's a spoiler, by the way. Somebody called me out on that earlier too when I said it somewhere else. They're like, no spoilers. I'm like, that's like something to look forward to. That's not a spoiler.
I wanted her to. It wasn't going to happen, but I wanted her to get drunk enough to be like, "Fuck this rebellion."
Yeah, bad choice.
It's like I'm going to go back to being rich and unhappy in my unhappy marriage. We'll see that.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for that too. Yeah, we got a lot of Star Wars nerd. We got a lot of awesome nerd stuff coming in.
Speaking of which, what did you think, tangent, of
Yes.
of the Ryan Gosling Star Wars news? Did that do it for you?
I mean, I get why. He's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood.
Sure.
He gets female viewers, which a lot of Star Wars content does not get. So
Yeah.
I think that's great for them. For the Star
I think
Wars
he's
celebration,
a very funny, underrated actor. I think the
Oh,
things
no, I
that
think
he's been in, especially anything that's ever needed, like you wouldn't expect him to have like a good humor role, right? Like he's funny when he's funny.
I think he's super talented. Even
What was the one with him and Russell Crowe? It's a great movie if you haven't seen it.
I have not, obviously. I liked him in Crazy Stupid Love a lot, but
yeah, hold on.
I thought he was talented from when I first saw him in Remember the Titans way back.
Yeah. Here, let me just find the name of this movie. If you haven't, this is another. Do yourself a favor and go see it.
He's a Disney actor, right?
Yeah.
So I think was he
The
in
Gray Man was great.
He was in the same class. He was with like Brittany, Christina, and
The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys.
Go watch The Nice Guys. That's a fantastic movie.
Speaking of guys, I think yes, the Avatar font in SNL, that is a fantastic sketch. Love it. I like it, most of his SNL stuff. I mean, he's great as Beavis. Right. And the alien abduction sketches that he does, I think he's great in those.
Yeah. The Nice Guys is great because both him and Russell Crowe play like total like just pieces of shit, like private detectives. It's a great movie.
Another tangent, one of the writers of The Land of the Lost worked on The Other Guys, which I also really liked.
That's still the best Samuel L. Jackson, like the best ending to their characters.
Oh,
so early in the movie too.
There goes my hero.
And then what is the and then also the origin of the term soup kitchen.
Yes. aim for the bushes. I mean, this also cemented in my head. I've long maintained that Michael Keaton is the better actor than Tom Hanks, and
absolutely.
And this cements it for me. Like, but Tom Hanks gets more credit. He's more lauded, but I don't know. I'm a Michael Keaton.
I don't know. I think Michael Keaton has been ever since Mr. Mom, right? Like,
loved Mr. Mom, loved Gung Ho.
All of them. But like, I've never thought to stack them side by side like that and like see who I think is better.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an Olympics thing, but it always
like
bothered me.
They have such equal amounts of talent and esteem behind them, you know?
Right. I think I'm also biased because Michael Keaton has a stand-up background, which a lot of people don't know.
And Tom Hanks is just a bigger household name at this point.
And the show Tom Hanks was in, Bosom Buddies.
Buddies?
Yeah, it was him and Peter Scolari, and I was like, Peter Scolari's got to get rid of this other guy. This guy sucks. He's never going to go anywhere.
And then the movie Big happened, or Bachelor Party. Sorry,
I make this call wrong a lot. Way back in the 90s, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, I thought like Marty Jannetty was like the much better pro wrestler. It's like Jannetty's got to get rid of this Michaels clown. He's never going anywhere. Had another thing. I saw Cactus Jack's last match in ECW, where he was fighting this long-haired and blonde fellow from Canada. I'm like, why is Cactus working with this jobber? This guy sucks. He's never going anywhere. It was Chris Jericho.
Oh, I don't know wrestling, unfortunately.
I mean, it's similar to saying that Tom Hanks is never going anywhere.
Well, yeah, funny
along those
story. Since we're on tangent time, a buddy of mine who lived downstairs from me for years, he's best friends with
lines.
Jorge
Name
Garcia,
Luca? Okay.
who was Hurley in Lost.
Ah,
And so one day, Jorge came over to my buddy Sean's house, and he brought over an early copy of the TV show premiere of Lost. And we all sat down with my wife and we watched it. And then eventually Jorge left, and me and my friend Sean and Michelle, my wife, were sitting down talking about it. And my takeaway was like, it's neat. I don't know if it's got like length in it or anything like that, but you know, as a series. And sure enough, it went on for like 10 seasons or some nonsense like that. That's still to this day one of the shows that burned me the worst after committing to watching every episode every time it debuted and aired.
one of the ones that I'm kind of torturing myself with now is Joey, the Friends spinoff.
That's tough.
They're releasing 2 episodes a week on YouTube, so that's like my lunch break. But also, I never watched it before when it originally ran. I didn't realize that Michelle Lasso was the girl that lives in Joey's apartment building. So it's nice to see her.
Who's Michelle Lasso?
From Ted Lasso.
Oh, okay.
His ex-wife.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't know her from anything else. Well, now I know her from Joey also. So
Yeah.
I'm sure she's done many things in between, just totally unaware of them.
Yep.
Okay, that is the wrap on the tangents. This time we're going. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Hope to see you in May 6th and May 8th for a double dose of RPadTV. Catch you next time. Be good.
Raymond, that's you.
No, this ain't Raymond.
All right.